Yeah, that's good shit. Hello, my wonderful, beautiful bruskies and bruskies of the wonderful, beautiful Maverick Nation. I am the one, the only, the dark, the shadow, the Maverick, the dark shadow Maverick. And welcome to part 5, the final part in this marathon feature that leads all the way up to before the Camino War thing. Basically, we only have really 2 things that are canon that we gotta, fulfill like criteria. And those 2 things being final exams and the forest training arc. Forest training camp arc. So final exams and forest training camp. The final exams would be first. And basically after everybody was told about the final exams, there was I believe there was a written portion to it, and then they did the thing like trying to escape or defeat the hero teacher person. I'm just gonna say that there is a written portion to it. So basically, we just skip over to the final exam. Everybody's ready to go, and obviously, it's not like Shoto and Izuku have been holding back at all. Neither has Momo after what happened, like hearing about, Toga's death. That's actually gotten her to try extra hard. It's actually given her a lot of motivation to do extra hard work. And so I'm going to say they pass the written thing. And then I would go on to the students versus the teachers. And basically, the 2 students that would be versing All Might would be the Symbiosis brothers themselves, Izuku and Shoto. Or at least that's what you would think, because of all of their camaraderie with each other, and how last time we basically left off with the, just now starting out days of what could soon become Team Symbiosis. The hero team, Team Symbiosis. That's what you would think would happen. But, instead Izuku gets paired up with someone he clearly does not like. Can you guess who? Can you guess who? Do you have a clue? This person Bakugo? Yes. Can you guess who? Do you have a clue? So, yeah, Bakugo. Basically, Bakugo charges straight head in first, head first, straight in. And, All Might's just able to Detroit smash his face in, straight into a building. Now, All Might is being restricted, but, Doesn't matter all that much considering he's still freaking All Might. And Izuku has on, like, his lean form of the Carnage, symbiote. He has on the lean skin. And so he's not fighting at full power. Basically, he goes for some web swinging is what Izuku tries to do. Basically, he does this in order to land on his feet and get behind All Might, suplexing, like German suplexes, man. And then throw him into a building. This works, but it doesn't seem to do much to All Might. All Might following up with a Carolina Smash that almost cleaves Izuku's head off. Izuku's really starting to think that All Might's over, like basically underestimating his own strength. And basically, after almost getting his head cleaved off by a Carolina Smash, then All Might heads for a Mississippi Smash, and then following up with a Texas Smash. Izuku dodging all of these, like expert mode. However, things do not bode well as All Might is about to go for 100% Smash! And Izuku right now is in a rock and a hard place, as he seems to be wedged in between two buildings. And, if he were to move either way, the buildings would just cave in on each other as soon as the air pressure hit. And so he just basically tanks a 100% smash. And let me remind you, he's still in the lean form. He hasn't, buffed up to monster form. And, well, basically, Izuku's face is in the freaking dirt. And he's just like, damn, All Might, you're tough. And All Might's like, you're acting like this is just a casual walk in the park for you. I've been throwing out everything I have in the book. Well, almost everything. I reserve the United States of Smash and Plus Ultra for villains, not students. And Izuku's like, and that was your first mistake. That'll be your last. And Izuku's just like, and you see these tendrils, and all of a sudden, just these tendrils, they head for All Might. All Might grabs the tendrils. With the tendrils, they jet out spikes. They get into All Might's arms. And then they slink back into Izuku's skin. At least the skin of the symbiote. The Carnage Symbiote. And basically, just slink back into the skin. And Izuku's like, oh yeah, now this is what I'm talking about. You were saying something about, if I remember correctly, you'd always talked about. And then all of a sudden, Izuku just catapults himself in front of All Might, reeling his fist back, and going, just yelling, plus, basically just yelling, beyond, plus, ultra! And All Might just gets hit with his own plus ultra. And All Might basically just gets knocked into a building that collapsed on top of him. And he's just barely able to escape out of the rubble. And All Might is like, how the hell? And he was like, that actually worked. So now, not only do I have hot, not only do I have hot, half hot, half cold, but I also have the power of one for all. Not too bad. For someone who calls himself the symbol of peace. Now, let's see how you deal with this. And then Izuku just goes up to his monstrous form and then goes like rampaging and like stampede, like in Jumanji whenever the guy like yells stampede, it's a stampede. Basically he just goes trudging forward, and All Might sees us and he starts running towards Izuku, expecting the worst but still ready to keep on going. If by some miracle he still does manage to survive this. But what All Might doesn't expect is to basically hear this. United? And All Might's like, wait, what? States? And All Might's like, no. He's like, smash! And just like, boom! And All Might just sent flying. Hold on a second, my OCD is acting up again. Sorry about that. Jesus. So basically, yes, Izuku just delivered All Might his own United States of Smash. Like monster form Carnage Symbiote style. And, well, now Izuku can freely just go out the other side, like basically go through the exit. But he does indeed pick up Bakugo, which, seeing as he's in the monster form, and picking up Bakugo was like nothing. It was like, the dude's like weightless in his arms. In fact, it's almost like Izuku could just like carry him in like one arm. And now we go on later, alligator. Basically, everyone that passed, well, go into the forest training camp. And basically, the same thing happened with the Wild Pussycats whenever they created that big slide thing that made the bus go all the way down. Because I guess they just want to be jerks like that. And so, I guess everybody had to go on foot to the, site, the campsite. And, well, what do you know? Bakugo isn't feeling too good. His self-esteem has taken a major hit. He lost straight out to All Might, and Izuku kicked All Might's ass. What does that make him? Bakugo's been pondering this, how many times he's, played the second, or maybe even, third fiddle in life when compared to Izuku. So, yes, very, very troublesome for Bakugo, not really knowing how to accept this, well, anything right now. And that's whenever Bakugo just goes off astray from all the other, students, and nobody really seems to notice that Bakugo's gone. And, he's just in the middle of the forest, collecting his thoughts, trying to think straight. And that's whenever he notices something. He notices something very strange. Something very strange indeed. Strange because, well, the thing that he notices is, well, there seems to be Mount Lady. Yes, Mount Lady. And Bakugo was like, why the hell are you here? Last time any of us checked, you guys aren't supposed to be here. This is the Wild Wild Pussycats domain thing. And Mount Lady is just yeah, about that. Shit. Well, crap. And to tell you the truth, I really don't know how I got here. Though I do remember hearing, it was a name. It's like I passed out. Before I passed out, I heard a name. And Bakugo's like, the name was... Because now Bakugo's kind of interested. He finds it weird that he's kind of interested, but he's still interested. And Mount Lady's just like, you happen to know anybody by the name of All Black? And Izuku's just like, no. And Mount Lady's like, shit. Well, don't seem to have much more better things to do. Well, see you later, kid. I guess I'll find something to do alongside the teachers and the Wild Wild Pussycats. I don't know how the hell I got here, but at least while I am here, I can do something. Feel weird. And, well, basically what would happen is we would switch over to Izuku, and Izuku would just be chilling. Turns out he had made his own place for him and Carnage to chill out. You know, relatively away from most, if not all, of the other students. Because Izuku, his girlfriend just died, so he's not gonna want to be too social with people that he isn't already very familiar with. However, it soon changes whenever he realizes someone seems to be coming up to his, pad that he made for himself. And he's like, who the hell is it? Don't even have to knock, just tell me, who are you? And why are you here? And Mount Lady is just like, you're a little rude, curmudgeon. And Izuku's like, huh? Mount Lady? How'd you get here? And why? And Mount Lady's like, I was wondering that myself, Actually, let me check up something. I'm trying to keep on telling the story while I'm looking it up. Basically, Mount Lady and Izuku are talking. Basically, Mount Lady doesn't seem to have anything better to do. So, her and Izuku just talk. Yutakayama. Okay. Okay. Yutakayama is her name. Mount Lady's real name. Yutakayama. Basically, I need to look up some shit. Turns out Mount Lady's 22. Damn. Well, it does indeed seem, well, 15. Actually, let's say like they're 16 whenever they first start UA. Because maybe this will make a little bit more sense if it's 16. Or maybe not, I don't know. That's fine. It's like a 7-year difference. Jesus Christ. If it was 16, it would only be a 6-year difference, and that's only 1 year over 5, so it wouldn't be too crazy. It would only be like a 6-year difference if they were, but they're 15 in this, so it's a 7-year difference. What the hell? But hey, I've heard crazier things. about relationships. Plus, this man, his woman just died. So let's say that Izuku's desperate. And so, the more they continue to talk, the more they continue to talk, basically, you know, they actually get on first name, last name basis with each other. Yes, Izuku actually gets the balls to call Mount Lady you. Yes, because that is her first name. And, well, seeing as this kid is getting the balls to call her by her first name, you know, Mount Lady's like, oh, kid, I guess I'll stop calling you kid. Your name is... And Izuku's like, Izuku. Izuku Midoriya. Todoroki. And, you know, Yu's just like, Izuku Midoriya Todoroki. Okay. That's interesting. And so let's just say that, seeing as Izuku was really desperate, I mean, Yu's not doing much better. That lady's not doing much better. Like, her only friends are like Death Arms and Kamui Woods. I meant to say Kamui Woods first, but whatever. Her only friends are like them, and, you know, they aren't even all that close in the first place, so can you really call them friends? So technically, in Yu's mind, well, she has no friends. And whenever Izuku hears this, and he's like, wait, you say you have no friends? But you're a pro hero. And Yu's like, yeah, like the number 23, 24, whatever, pro hero. Nothing close to the top like your dad. He's one of the lucky ones. And Izuku's just like, I don't feel bad. Besides, you do have a friend. Well, that is, if you're willing to let me be your friend. And Yu's just like, kid, you have balls of steel. Like, just damn. Alright, I said I was gonna stop calling you kid. Izuku, you got a lot of balls doing what you're doing. Saying what you're saying, you know. Well, I guess, hearing what I've heard about you, hearing that you beat All Might, hearing that apparently you have this strange partner that's bonded to you. And Carnage would just come out and say, hello, you, Takayama. And you'd be like, hello, Takayama-chan. And, you know, you would just be like, did you call me? You freaking weirdo? And Izuku's like, that's just Carnage being Carnage. And, you know, as time had gone by, and the whole problem thing with Koda and Izuku had been resolved, figuring out why Kota has such a hatred towards heroes, and even helping him resolve that hatred by, like, fixing, like, screwing his head on tight, like, on, like, actual logic, using logic because it's logic. But then usually is just a little kid, is what Izuku's thinking. And you would have seen everything that Izuku had done and heard everything that Izuku had done. Basically, being so nice to this kid, helping him with his little problems. And Mandalay, well, she would have seen that Yu was doing her best to hide. But, Mandalay and the rest of the Wild Pussycats know this forest like no other. So, she wasn't gonna get off that easily. But at the same time, Mandalay didn't exactly feel like telling, her off to whoever she was trying to hide from. And so, basically, right as Yu is, like, about to, get out of the, like, hiding spot that she made for herself, and, try and talk to Izuku again, some hulking figure comes out of nowhere. It turns out, not even being drained of your everything by an alien monster, like, can stray you away from the path of villainy. It's muscular. It's still a part of the Vanguard Action Squad. And, well, Muscular actually tries to kill Kota, in which Izuku straight on blitzes him, and, they just get in a power struggle, and Izuku's trying to transform into the monster form, but Muscular has actually found a way to suppress the ability for Izuku's body to expand into the form. He's actually suppressing the transformation. And in doing this, also slowly draining Izuku of his stamina. As he tries to push back, Muscular keeps on pushing forward, and eventually Kota finally does listen to Izuku and runs for the hills, while also making his own little secret hiding spot and trying to basically, look at things from behind the scenes. Because he literally, last thing he said to Izuku before he left is, "Please don't die." Because he remembers not only about his parents dying, but that his parents' death, basically his brother, it's basically what caused his brother to become a villain. Or at least a villain in the eyes of the heroes. They called him the Hero Killer Stain. And, hearing about the recent defeat of the Hero Killer Stain by someone who looks awfully familiar to the way Izuku looks now, Kota putting it together that this person is the person who defeated his brother, who had become a villain after what happened to their parents. And, well, Kota is just fearing for Izuku's own life, seeing as Izuku doesn't seem to have really all that much room for fear. So Kota's fearing for him. He doesn't really seem to have all that much room for fear at the moment, so Kota's fearing for him. And then that's whenever you was just like, this guy, grateful little monster. And this is whenever you decides to use her quirk and become super big. And basically toss Muscular around like salad. And just Muscular is, his brain is getting racked by this. And is slowly starting to fall apart because his body is still recovering from what Riot did to it. However, there's still not much relief, as there seems to be blue flames erupting from anywhere. But Izuku's looking, and he knows that these blue flames aren't his. Because, he isn't actually trying to summon blue flames. And plus, these seem like they have a lot more malicious intent. And someone actually seems to, be, coming up behind Mount Lady and trying to charge a blast of these blue flames at her back. Direct for her spinal cord. And Izuku is just like, he gets overcharged with adrenaline, and it's just like, he goes automatic monster form and smacks this man all the way into the ground. And he actually starts to, drag along for a little while. That's how hard he got smacked. And, he isn't really stopping. He's, just getting faster and faster. And he just hits his head into a rock. And it breaks open. And this person is, Izuku remembers from the nightmare, Gabi. But then Izuku also remembers something, whenever, the seldom times where, Toya was indeed talked about, around the family. They would mention about the scars and everything. And in the certain places where the scars were. And even the incident that caused Toya to go missing, possibly even dead. But now, due to the similarities, and, while the hair color is different, the hairstyle is not. And the look in this person's eyes, well, they do seem very delirious from just getting smacked into a rock formation. It still seems to be a look filled with a lot of malice and ill intent, especially towards a certain flame-bearded number 2 hero. And all of his family. New or old. It didn't matter. He was pissed. And Izuku could feel it. He could taste it. And that's whenever Izuku knew it was ironclad. Toya Todoroki lives. This Dabi? That's just a villain alias. That is Toya Todoroki right there. Is what he's seeing right before him. The person who was lighting the forest ablaze of blue fire. Izuku, his blue fire, he ends up finally figuring out why he's able to use blue fire. This blue fire comes almost like some sort of destiny, like they were destined to meet. And so, as like a symbolization of that destined to meet stuff, like they were destined to go up against each other, like destined to battle, Izuku was able to unlock a sacred, powerful flame and even ascend it even further beyond what, Dabi could use, or Toya could use, and create a white flame. And Izuku decided he was going to use the white flame to defeat Toya. Even calling him out, saying the name Toya Todoroki. Calling him Toya, not accepting the villain alias. No, he was only going to call him by his actual family name. Birth name. And, well, this only pissed Toya off, as he would surge blue flames everywhere to try to, suffocate Izuku. Izuku would then basically sonic boom clap, and a giant uproar of white flame would shoot out in all directions and burn straight through the blue flames and smack straight into Toya. And this would finally burn away at all that was left, as Toya would simply say, You are just a pawn to him. He doesn't love you. It's worse than me. Once he's had enough of you, once you've ran out of uses for him, it'll be even worse than what happened with me. I wasn't his perfect masterpiece like little brother. I wasn't perfect like him. And so, monster, he screwed my life over. All because I wasn't perfect like Shoto. And it will happen to you too. And then what will you do? Will you become like me? Or will you die like how Shoto was destined to die? I can picture it. Possible. Another way it could go. You, taking on your position, go against Shoto. Once you find out the truth of everything, and you two fight until you both draw your last breaths. I sure hope it's that one. That way you could both die. And endeavor. He'll go down to his knees in his flaming tears. That demon, that devil, he deserves it. He deserves to rot. And, well, Izuku would just be like, shut up. And he would just shoot several spikes of Carnage Symbiote straight through Toya, finally killing him. But then Izuku would realize he had just killed someone and be like, I. Then he realized, oh yeah, his claws. He sinks one of his claws into Toya and briefly brings him back with just enough energy for him to lay there to be, dealt with. And basically sinks his claws deep down in and brings Toya back just enough for him to be dealt with later on. And, well, after Yu sees this, well, Yu's just like, Izuku, you are amazing. And Izuku's like, I wouldn't exactly call what I did there amazing. For a few seconds there, I actually killed him. If it wasn't for the other powers I had, I might have actually stayed dead. I would have killed someone. I would have been no better than him. That's whenever it's heard, basically, Mandalay using her quirk, telling everyone that 2 UA students have been captured by the League of Villains in this time of freaking chaos. These 2 students being Katsuki Bakugo and Fumikage Tokiyami. And Izuku's just like, he just drops to his knees like, ugh. Damn it. Ugh. He would just be angry. So angry. As his skin would begin to boil as it would mix and mesh together with the very Carnage Symbiote. He would be boiling inside and out. With rage and hatred. However, you will basically be like, well, there has to be something I can do. I'll help. Besides, I'm a pro hero, that's what I'm supposed to do. And so, they would all head off towards the League of Villains base. Basically, All Might would do his special pizza delivery bullshit, and, well, basically, everything would get all scatterbrained from there. And, well, the scatterbrainness, Izuku would finally find Bakugo and Tokoyami, untie them, and just everybody would be sent out in all sorts of different directions. But you would follow Izuku and where he was going to go. And actually, as they would both be racing off in the same direction, they would accidentally touch hands. And this brief moment, which seemed like an entire scene playing out over an extended period of time, Izuku would see something and even hear. He'd be able to see, he'd be able to hear everything out. As if he was in this world himself. He felt as if it was his physical body, but he knew that this was a mental construct of some sort. So he didn't know why he felt like it was his physical body which was intact with it. It didn't make any sense. That is, unless, well, he had indeed heard before. Well, there was indeed some things that were indeed still left over from whenever Venom originally replicated from Carnage that Izuku was able to study up on and get information from. And apparently, this had something to do with, well, the future. And the future has something to do involved with more symbiotes. It was a symbiote that even put All For One's evil to shame. Most pure darkness, but even it was overshadowed by a being even worse than that. The original being was the creator, but this one was for sure the most powerful. And Izuku remembers being told that the most powerful symbiote is a symbiote known as All Black. And it sure did look that way with the way this creature looked. It seemed to tower over every single last person on Earth. But it never seemed to get too close. Almost as if it knew that there was something of equal power to it, that if it were to try to engage, things would not be pretty. It would not end up well. So, there was inevitably something keeping All Black at bay. Izuku was happy about that, because if this had anything to do with the actual future, then that was a good thing, that he was kept away by something. And if it was something that came from Earth, then it probably meant it was either him or one of his friend's symbiotes. Considering that his symbiote is like the strongest out of all three of them, he probably figured out that it was Carnage that All Black was not wanting to get in a confrontation with. That basically All For Black did not want to mess with Carnage. Sensing just how powerful the symbiote spawned from Venom had truly become. And especially the power of its host, Izuku Midoriya. In this story, Izuku does seem to have become a hero. In this story, this future, that definitely is what it looks like. And he seems to have gotten his own home. Separate from, the Todoroki household. And that he was living with someone. Could it be that this far into the future, he was married? From what it looked like, he could see a picture on the wall of the house. Izuku with a girl, Izuku with a ring around his finger, and the girl with a ring around her finger. The rings are matching. Izuku, his suspicions were confirmed. In this future, he is married. And the girl that he seems to be married to has blonde hair, but unlike Toga, who usually wore light colors, this person who he seems to be married to in the photo wear darker colors and seem to be even in a hero costume, almost like this was some sort of gimmicky picture. Then again, Izuku didn't seem to look all that much better. The more Izuku looked, though, the more that opinion began to change as he realized this difference. The only reason why he actually noticed this other person as himself is, well, because he's able to feel it off of the painting. Feel his presence. That split second in time in which the photo was taken. However, he also seemed to be wearing his hero suit. But the lean version, very clean and very, well, not all that intimidating looking. Possibly to keep preserved, as to not frighten anyone who might have been around whenever the picture was taken. And the last thing that Izuku noticed about the picture is that the face part of his suit was open. You could see his green eyes, his green hair. However, his lips were locked with the other person's lips. And the darker color seemed to be revealing itself from the hair costume. The dark color being purple. And it wasn't nearly as dark as it had seemed before. With their lips locked together, Izuku could probably guess that this was, and the wedding rings and everything, could probably guess that this was some sort of gimmicky wedding photo. It did really indeed seem that they were enjoying themselves. However, Carnage didn't seem to be popping out from anywhere. Possibly respecting their privacy? Just for the occasion? That's whenever you remembered the hero suit that he was wearing was Carnage. Izuku felt like he had to facepalm just for forgetting that. Yeah, well, just the face part of Izuku being revealed so that he may kiss the person in the photo, which he presumed to be his lady love of the future. Maybe sometime off in the future, whenever he had gotten over what had happened with Himiko. And then he saw something engraved towards the bottom of the picture. Not really engraved, but seemed to be written in cursive. Black cursive. He could vaguely make it out. I-M-T plus Y. No, wait. One second. Basically, the YMT part, and then there was a plus, and then towards the bottom, Izuku began to try to recognize it. It was a YMT plus, and then below the plus, YT. Izuku probably figured out that IMT was Izuku Midoriya Todoroki, considering that it was him in the picture, but this person wearing purple and with the lighter hair, was it blonde? And they seem to have some sort of red glasses, possibly? Not really sure. Then he tried really hard to remember the name. If he had heard a name, then he froze. Wide-eyed. YT. He remembered talking to Mount Lady and hearing what her name was, and knowing her second name as well. Her real name, Yu Takayama. YT. The colors matched, the hair matched, glasses. Izuku Midoriya Todoroki plus YT Yu Takayama. And to basically be the icing on the cake, this little message at the end, at the very bottom of the picture, was encircled by a heart. And then at the very bottom, below the initials for Yu's name, in bold letters, the word forever. And the word again, together. Forever together. Izuku Midoriya Todoroki plus Yu Takayama. Together forever. This little gimmicky wedding photo with them both in their hero costumes instead of wearing, the usual tux and dress. It almost seemed like some sort of reception or after party would look to be in the background of the photo. That's whenever Izuku was broken away from his silence, as he heard someone calling out his name. But they said, "Izuku, honey? Izuku? Are you alright?" Izuku didn't know what to say. The person who was in the photo was the same person who had come up to him and said this while he was still in his dreamscape, but feeling as if it was his physical body inside there, instead of an astral projection of his original body. Maybe this was to make it feel more real, this future reality. Izuku just went along with it. Time seemed to move differently from last time he had even remembered to check the time, because the last thing he remembered It was dark out, and as he looked out the windows of this house that he was now in, it was clearly daylight. So, this set it in stone. This future reality, time worked differently as Izuku was perceiving this future reality. And another thing, something Izuku almost hit him so hard. It was like a rock being thrown at his chest. Not any small rock either. A rock so hard, hitting his chest it would explode, and his body would slam into a concrete wall embedded with nails through it. What he saw next. He saw a girl holding one of Yu's legs and saying, "Mommy, is Daddy okay?" He doesn't look it. As you, or at least this future reality's version of you, would simply say. Well, Father, if you would stop spacing out, maybe be able to figure out what was up. That's whenever Izuku received a slap to the face, that would wake him up, while still being retained within this future reality. And you would be like, "Oh, I didn't mean to slap you that hard. Sorry, honey. But, Dr. Hunter's worried about you." Please, honey, tell me what's wrong. Izuku finally coming to his senses and regaining his strength. You would say, "Well, at least maybe now you'll be able to hear me. You look more awake now. Ursa's worried about you." And that's whenever it really shook Izuku. The name of this child, and the way they were holding Yu's leg, and how him and Yu seemed to be living together, from the look of the photo. This Ursa girl. Child? And also, you look different from the way that she was in the photo. Almost like she had gained a few pounds. And Ursa's saying, the child that he believed to be Ursa, saying, "Daddy, you're scaring. You're scaring." As she would just point to her mother's stomach. "You're scaring them." And Izuku would simply just say, "What?" As you would come to the shocking realization that at this point in time, whatever year this was, and this future reality that he was apparently stuck in at the moment, you was pregnant with a second child on the way. However, you breaking silence by saying that, isn't it great that they're able to tell now what gender their child will be? They say it's a boy. It's going to be a boy. Izuku, his mind began to shut down and his stomach began to churn. He felt not like himself. Then again, the time that he did spend with this hero, Mount Lady, no, Yu Takayama, Yu was their name, and after all the time they had spent, even though it wasn't long, he did feel a connection. So this future reality, even though it made Izuku question a lot of things, he felt a sharp, piercing, reeling feeling jut him out of his stupor and back into the real world. As Carnage would call for him, saying, "Izuku!" And Izuku would basically be like, "Carnage? What the hell just happened to me?" And Carnage would be like, "I saw and heard everything you saw and heard. Somehow, something, for some reason, I don't know if it was just destiny and, destined fate, just like what happened with Toya, how you have blue fire because he had blue fire. And if it is that, well, whoever knew someone could get feelings for another person so fast." And Izuku would be like, "Okay, maybe I do like her." However, Izuku wouldn't realize that he had said this out loud, and you would be like, "Huh? You like me?" Well, even though there is a little bit of an age difference, maybe if we get out of this alive, can take you out on a little bit of a date. After all, people would still think you to be safe. I mean, I am a pro hero, so it's not like that anybody has any reason to feel like I would hurt you or anything. Actually, I think you're quite cute too. And Izuku would just think, is this how it's meant to be? Maybe the world, maybe the world is trying to fix itself. Toga was stripped from me, stripped from any chance of us being together ever again. And maybe the world is trying to fix my hollow heart after what happened. And this is how I decided to fix it. I don't know if I should feel happy or weirded out like hell. Right now, all I know is we have to stop all for one. And that is indeed where I'll be leaving things off, because we are right on the cusp of the whole communal war incident. And so, Alan's gonna douse this because actually I'm having to get out of here. Yeah, boys, like, favorite, subscribe, click that little bell, and bounce like it's Quidditch, 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 Quidditch. Yeet, 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 and all the freaking yeet in the world. Mr. Rich. Oh god, that never gets old.